Buyer's agency, as we know it today, was not created to protect home buyers. It was created to protect realtors, brokerages, and most importantly, the National Association of Realtors. So before we had buyer agency, we had what was called sub-agency. And in this model, all agents legally represented sellers, even if they were working with the home buyer. Now, obviously, this created a lot of confusion, potential conflicts, and opportunities for lawsuits where buyers assumed that the agent working with them was representing their best interests, but in fact, they were still an agent of the home seller. Buyers claimed that they were misled about representation, and they sued the bejesus out of brokerages and NAR. So to address this, NAR created Buyer's Agency in the early 1990s as their way of saying, hey, look, buyers, now you have the option to have an agent who legally represents you. Sounds great, right? Well, here's the thing. The model hardly changed, and sellers continued being the ones that would pay or compensate buyer agents, just like they did when they were sub-agents of the sellers. And last I checked, the person who writes the checks is the employer. So if buyer agency was truly invented to protect buyers, well, it would have also shifted the financial incentives so that buyers had to compensate their agents somehow, but at least then buyer agents and their clients would have aligned incentives. As it is now, most buyer agents are still paid by sellers. One of the ways sellers can make their homes more attractive to buyers is by increasing the amount that they are willing to pay a buyer's agent, and buyer agents make more when their client spends more. It means their financial incentives and therefore loyalties are fundamentally misaligned with the interests of their home buying client. So in short, Buyer's agency was nothing more than a rebrand of the old sub-agency model. It was fundamentally created to avoid further lawsuits, but not actually to reform the buyer agent's role of primarily looking out for their home buyer clients' interests. And as long as sellers remain the functional employer of buyer's agents as the ones who write the checks, buyer agents will continue to work for sellers, not home buyers. Which is why I am so passionate about educating and empowering home buyers to represent themselves.